Welcome to the Stuart Arthur's Legacy Room here at the Northwestern Oklahoma State University Football Fieldhouse. Today we're holding a press conference to announce the inaugural signing class of head football coach Alan Hall. Coach Hall will issue a brief statement on the class of signees who have signed national letters of intent, and then we'll open it up for questions. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce head football coach Alan Hall.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming out today for our first what hope to be many wonderful signing classes here as part of the football program under my direction. I first want to start off by issuing out a handful of thank yous. This class, which I feel is a very strong class, is a direct reflection of a lot of hard work by a lot of people. First of all, my staff has put in countless hours over the last 4 weeks since coming on board January the 2nd, being out on the road, visiting several high schools a day, 6 days a week, and then also trying to travel back to host recruits on campus on the weekends, as well as their everyday day-to-day duties with the current football program and their other assignments. So they put in a lot of time, and rewards will be shown here in a moment as I read through the list. But second of all, I'd like to thank the administration and the various offices around campus that helped us tremendously through this process. The Office of Student Affairs and Recruitment for being with us every weekend over the last 3 weekends, helping us with tours and admissions packets and paperwork, showing families around. Over the course of the last 3 weeks, we've had a total of 175 prospective football players here on campus visiting at one point or another, culminating with our last visit weekend, which was last weekend in conjunction with the Hall of Fame ceremonies, where we had 57 kids visit campus on Saturday, which was a big weekend for us, and it paid off tremendously. I'd like to thank the other administrators and faculty, Dr. Hannaford, Dr. Lohman, of course our president, Dr. Cunningham, all of which spent their time on Saturday morning visiting the families and young men and helping us to facilitate the recruitment efforts by my coaches. Last but not least, I want to send a thank you out to the high school coaches in the state of Oklahoma. I made a commitment to recruit Oklahoma high schools when I was hired, and that's exactly what we did. And you'll see when we go through the list of players that I think we have a wide range, a variety of Oklahoma high school football players from all across the state. Our coaches were scattered out in various areas, and we visited as many as we came. The Oklahoma High School Football Coaches Association welcomed us 3 weeks ago to their winter clinic down in Oklahoma City. Invited our staff down. We were able to speak amongst of about 300 or so high school coaches. We got to spend the better part of a day and a half visiting with them about their young people. And they have certainly done a tremendous job helping us facilitate the recruiting efforts. Having a late start with the transition tied our hands somewhat in time frame because our competitors, quite frankly, been recruiting some of these people for the last 6, 7, 8 months. But we didn't let that deter us. We hit it about as hard as we could, and culminated with several of us being up here last night till about 3:30 in the morning, sending out faxes and getting stuff to high school players today for national signing days so they can sign with their prospective schools and their families. I'm going to begin reading through the list now. I apologize to my staff and Wendy McManus, our compliance officer, are up top receiving faxes probably as we speak, but I will run down the list as I have it, that is as up to date as I can. Understand that the NCAA does not allow us to comment or speak about a young man until we've received their brand name and national letter of intent back from the institution signed. So there will be some names I can't read off, and I'll go into more detail there in a minute. But going down the list, we've got Damian Brown, defensive back from Broken Arrow High School. Cameron Bryant is a wide receiver from John Marshall High School in Oklahoma City. Dylan Call is a Class 6A All-State linebacker, Elite 11 from over in Wichita, Kansas. David Dennison, who's a running back here from Woodward, Oklahoma. Aaron Gaines, wide receiver from Northeast Academy in Oklahoma City. Levi Jennings is a linebacker. Pardon me 1 second, let me make sure I don't misspeak. From Southmore High School. I'm still learning names of high schools, little names of young men. Jarrell Jeter, wide receiver from Putnam City High School. Christopher Ladd, defensive back. Broken Arrow. Larry Long, defensive back. I'm going to call where he's from at the moment. Reed Miller, quarterback from Pampa, Texas. Reed Miller, for those that follow Ranger Athletics, his father, Dustin Miller's in the Hall of Fame here. Was a former basketball player as a Ranger. Dustin threw for over 3,200 yards in the 2 years that he started at Pampa High School, along with 27 touchdowns. Two-time unanimous all-district player down there in Texas. Did a real good job. We were real lucky to have him as part of our signing class. Jeremiah Nelson, defensive tackle from Bonita, Oklahoma. Rontet Smith, the wide receiver. Wesley Starr, linebacker from Muskogee, Oklahoma. Michael Thomas, another wide receiver from Northeast Academy in Oklahoma City. Joshua Way, running back from Wayne High School, right outside of Norman. Was part of the Wayne High School, won the Class A state championship game. Josh made it to several all-star or all-state teams, as well as being the MVP of the state championship game. Put up impressive numbers down there. Senior year alone, rushed for 400 carries for 2,989 yards and 42 touchdowns. And rushed for almost 1,600 yards in the state playoffs. Quite an impressive senior year. And we're very fortunate to have him. Travion Willis, another wide receiver from Northeast Academy in Oklahoma City. Gary Wilson is a defensive lineman. All-state player from Page High School here in Oklahoma. I'm probably going to say this wrong. Tyron Byer is a wide receiver from Ponca City High School here in Oklahoma. Zach Doyle, running back from Savannah High School. Justin Woody, offensive lineman from Northeast Academy in Oklahoma City. Breon Young is an outside linebacker, also from Northeast Academy in Oklahoma City. Austin Maley, who's an offensive lineman from Craig High School in Oklahoma. KT Toombs, wide receiver from Oklahoma. Matt Coward, offensive lineman from Holdenville High School here in Oklahoma. Austin Baca, the defensive end from Holdenville here in Oklahoma as well. Trey Powell, who was a running back from Beggs High School here in Oklahoma. And Jordan Googe, who was a linebacker from Lawton High School here in Oklahoma. We currently still have about 27 national letters still out there pending return of signage, so we're cautiously optimistic that those will be arriving today. Currently, to date, just to give you some numbers, we are at 30 signees for this year's class, 27 which are from Oklahoma. We have signed 3 players from the state of Florida, from the Tallahassee area. Garrett Barnett, who was a offensive lineman, Mike Calhoun, who was a defensive lineman, and Jacob Gray, who was a defensive back. So that, as the numbers break down, if you're curious, in the offensive line class, we have 2, wide receivers we have 8, running backs we have 3, quarterbacks we have 1, defensive backs we have 3, linebackers we have 5, and defensive linemen we have 2. We really didn't focus in any one particular area. We were looking for the best fits for our program as well as the university, taking into consideration the things that we find most important, looking at character, looking at their academic record, as well as their performances on the field, but certainly not losing sight or giving more credence to one area over the other. Several outstanding young men in that class from an academic standpoint. We got 3 or 4 in there that have applied to the president's leadership course for the fall, as well as 2 valedictorians at their high school. So that's quite impressive, considering the usual knock, the coursework of great football players. But we were most impressed with the level and the breadth of academic standards that these young men brought to the table in terms of this year's second class. So that concludes my rundown of the signing class, and I'll be happy to take your questions at this time.
Coach, you mentioned a couple of offensive linemen, maybe a couple of defensive linemen. Out of the 27 that you haven't signed yet, are there a lot more linemen in that group?
Yes, there are. I think.
Because you're still looking for some linemen, right?
Absolutely. One area that I don't think we can ever have enough of is both offensive and defensive line. I would say right now we have anywhere from 12 to 15 letters out there still currently on one side or the other. We recruit the best fit, but from a schematic standpoint, we'll sign more defensive linemen than because they're athletic and play over there, and you can't play with so many. Well, we'll shift some of those guys over to the offensive side of the ball. Because that's, we don't, from a recruiting philosophy, we don't cookie cutter our kid. We don't say you have to be a certain height, a certain weight. We look for athleticism across the board. So, and we'll sign anywhere from 20 to 25 linemen every year that we look to redshirt, develop a little bit, that have that rangy frame that you can put on another 20, 25 pounds, have a better football player 2 years from now, as opposed to what you're going to get walking in the door. So,
all of these players are freshmen?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. We focused our efforts in the high school at this time, looking to the growth and development of the program in terms of laying the foundation, moving into the NCAA and the new conference. I felt it was best to look down the road as opposed to trying to flash it right now and infuse it with transfers and junior college players that would be out here about the time we're looking to make a push.
So no, Coach?
Not at this time, no. And not to say that we won't, but after the dust settles from today and tomorrow with the signing class, we'll reevaluate our needs and see if maybe we didn't get enough at a particular spot and then go and readdress that.
Some of the excitement about having a new coach and a new coaching staff is having somebody different from a different part of the world, which is southeast United States, Florida, in that area. So you said, 3 already signees, I think, as a freshman. When you go back down there and look at some of the people, you guys have got to have a lot of ties to a lot of schools down there.
And we do. It's, again.
And Florida's a big football state.
Yes, sir. Again, given the nature of the time frame we were under, and we wanted to make sure we took care of our home areas first. That's where we focused our efforts, but we have made contact with, we have letters out there now to some kids in Florida and Georgia from previous relationships, and that's really how we went about it here the first 4 weeks we were here. And again, we're going to sit down, address the needs and the numbers again, and start to getting on the phones. I'm actually going to probably let my guys sleep for a day or two. They'll be happy with not working the kind of hours we worked in the last 4 weeks. So, but yes, we're gonna go back and look at that, as an infusion of certain need areas that we might have.
Is it till 12 tonight?
Actually,
how it works?
now, once it opened up at 8 a.m. today, they can sign up until April 1st.
Okay.
After April 1st, you can no longer sign on the 10th of the upcoming school year.
A lot of the larger schools, the Division I schools, rank their players 4 stars, 5 stars, or whatever. And I know you probably don't do that, but you probably have a couple or 3 or 4, or I don't know how many, that you drill over that you got. Who would they be?
Yeah, everybody, and the thing with recruiting classes is,
And you never know how they're gonna turn out.
you don't know until about year 3. Regardless of the level you're at, you talk about these young men, they haven't put pads on yet, they haven't seen the kind of competition. There's a number of scenarios there, but, it'd be nice when we would put together a 4-star class or something of that nature. But we've got a few kids in here that were recruited by other people, and we're very excited about having the running back, Josh Way from Wayne is a young man we felt very strongly that we needed to recruit quite aggressively. And Coach Haynes, our running back coach, it just so happened that was his area, and he recruited him himself, and did a great job there doing that. Reed Miller, the quarterback, Morgan Pampa, was a highly looked after kid. Took several visits to several other places and actually came down to us in Southwestern, I believe. It's always nice, taking one from Southwestern whenever you can. But he's one that we're obviously excited about. We've got a couple of defensive linemen in there, Jeremiah Nelson and Gary Wilson, that we're excited about, because they're bigger bodies, 6'3", 270, 6'4", 280, 285, something of that nature. Guys that can instantly come in and give us a little bit of help, and very athletic and rangy guys. We've still got a few that are out there right now that, again, I can't talk about yet because the letters aren't in, that we are certainly, anticipating coming in here in the next hour or two that we'll be excited about even more once we see those letters arrive from some very prominent programs here in Oklahoma, as well as a few other states. So a lot of time difference on the East Coast. Some weren't doing their press conferences at their local schools until later this afternoon, so it was hard getting them run down.
What's the tie-in with Northeast Academy? You don't hear a whole lot about them, I was just wondering. Did they throw the ball a lot there? I mean, you got like 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, well, 3 of those wide receivers were all part of the state qualified 4x100 team.
Oh, okay.
Speed as well as the 4x4. Those are 3 legs of that. And there's not really a tie. They come from a decent, program. We were in the Oklahoma City area recruiting quite heavily, and happened to be one of the stops we made. They were real good kids. All 5 of them came up and visited last week on campus. A couple parents brought them up, and it just happened to work out. That's really, but no help from alum or anything about it. Which we did have many alum helping us in the high school areas, and that's how we were able to do some of this in such a short fashion.
Did you recruit anything to a certain type of offense you're going to try to run?
Well, we'll be spread with multiple, we'll base 4 wide receivers. Depending on personnel, we play with either 1 or 2 tight ends. Just again, depending on what we had, which tight ends always been a hard spot to recruit to, especially at this level. Because if they have the size and they have the ability to play and they have the academics to play, usually they'll go above you. So you wind up creating them here. But we've got a few young men that were already part of the program when we got here, and we'll look at that. But we did try to alter, you always try to tailor your recruiting needs and what you are looking at to try to fit what you're going to do. Receivers was a big part of that, looking at the skill positions and trying to make sure we had a good amount here to be able to facilitate the offense that we're going to run. Sure.
Any special guys? Hunters, kickers? That's a bad question. Any specialty guys?
No, sir. We tried, we swung and we missed. So we'll still, that's, the nice thing about that is kickers usually, there's always a kicker out there floating around. You just gotta find them. No, we didn't, we didn't luck up there.
Anybody get away that you really thought you had?
Yes.
Of note?
Sure, I mean, you know, as I told the staff, you know, you're gonna lose guys. You know, it's not an exact science, and everybody's out there competing against you. And again, you know, here in Oklahoma, we've got a lot of competitors. Recruitment is Division II, NEI, junior college, and Division I. And for a state this size, there's a great number of institutions you're competing against before you even leave the border. And then you have the schools in Kansas and Texas that dip over here as well. So with only 4 weeks of prep time and not having the 6 to 8 months you generally have to recruit somebody, we lost. Believe me, we lost more than our share. But that's going to happen. And we, you know, and we just get back to the drawing board and try to, you know, we start off next year, we'll have a much better position time-wise in terms of identifying. We'll actually start next week when we get back into the office, working on spring recruiting, looking at 2013, so we don't fall behind. Fortunately, I can't talk about those ones that we lost, so I'll have
Okay.
got
Hopefully
a
you won't
question
have
on
to
that.
complain.
Fortunately, sometimes you do, but that's the nature of the beast. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for being here.